Hey, just wanted to give a quick tour of the 99 Altima that I've been talking about on the forums. Here's where my AFR and boost gauges are, and this is actually just a little metal plank to go underneath of the stereo. But it's been kind of handy like this for now, so I can actually see it while I drive. What I did with the trunk, and the reason, not exactly perfect, but I used a Maxima hood prop strut to hold the trunk open. There's the battery relocate, pretty simple there. The ground is just attached to the body, and that is a sliced up piece of jumper cable. But the nice thing is the trunk used to be very hard to close. I had to slam it, and now just a light close and it closes. Well, the reason for that was I wanted to get rid of the torsion bars so I could actually put some 6x9s on the back, and I'm going to do my best to get the metal shaped so I can put those 6x9s down in the original speaker holes and put the rear cover back on, which may or may not work, but if it doesn't, I'll just throw some, cut it and throw some speaker grills. I've got the Infinity speaker grills anyway, so they look rather nice. Now front, kind of obvious what's under there. I'll probably spray that just to hide it a little bit, but not a major priority right now. Pardon me while I put the prop rod up. Okay. Again, under the heat shield, I've got heat wrap, basically to protect the radiator hose, which I've got two bends that I picked up from some generic car at AutoZone. I don't know what these go to, but they're cheap and they fit. And then a piece of pipe in between. Threw that on the bead roller and clamped it together, and it works. The problem I was having with the 01 Altima is that I wrapped the hose, the upper radiator hose, with the heat wrap, and it caught on fire. And this stuff is, you're supposed to be able to put this on the exhaust manifold. Like, this is not supposed to burn ever. And the radiator hose was full of coolant when it caught on fire. But apparently what was going on was, as it was heating up, it was sucking oil out of the, or I guess it was oil out of the rubber, and it turned it into a wick. So it caught on fire with coolant flowing through it, which is kind of a cool trick. Anyway, it went out. This goes down to the Garrett TO3 turbo, and that is a turbocharge pipe, which I showed the pictures. I cut a bunch of slots and bent it to the shape I want, and then I cut scallops to go over top, and I welded it solid. Up front, you can see where the return comes from. This turbo came off of a some mid 1980s turbo Dodge. I don't actually recall which one this came off of. Down at the bottom of the pipe, you can see where my wideband is hooked up. I did have to extend the wire for the O2 sensor, and I used an oversized wire. I don't think that affects my O2 readings at all, because of the size of the wire. And Honda Civic radiator. This is one of the original fans. Now, on the 01 Altima, I was able to slice it in half, make a couple of small modifications, and make it fit. And then I used fan plug 1, and that would go on any time that the car was expecting to need to use the fan. For some reason on this one, it knows when to turn the fan on, but when I only have one fan plugged in, it's not turning that fan on, no matter which plug it's on. So what I did was I put a new relay under here to cross radiator fan 1 over anytime ignition is on. So that is an ignition on all the time fan. The reason why I couldn't just put the relay directly to the fan is it's a PWM actuated fan. It's not just a DC voltage fan. What's kind of interesting, when you unplug the engine coolant temperature sensor from the back, and this goes into a panic mode, it cranks up the RPMs on the fan. So it knows how to control it. The relay simply tells it whether to be on or not. So, and there's a tiny bit of space. I'm considering possibly putting one more fan here just to reduce the amount of heat that soaks off of the exhaust downpipe into the AC condenser. This is where I cut the front core strut or core support, and I basically made a bracket to tie it onto the front bumper, and it works quite well. It's actually surprisingly straight, latches just fine, feels totally solid. I regularly stand on this when I'm reaching the back of the engine compartment, so it's plenty solid. The intercooler lines. So first step is from the MAF. Funny enough, it fits directly onto most of these turbocharged turbos, but it has to be a certain distance away for it to read accurately. So we use the flexible air duct. You can buy this at AutoZone. I think it's like $30. I can't remember the exact price. It's not terrible. And the map and bar are all hooked up. Best as I can tell, the way that the computer is expecting. I put a threaded barb on the side here, and I kept it away from the wire on the MAF, but this is going to the large vacuum line that the idle air control motor is connected to, and I put a check valve in to make sure that boost doesn't end up going this way and back out through the air cleaner housing. At the bottom, I don't know if I'll be able to get this. Oh yeah, at the bottom is another threaded barb, and this simply comes up to the PCV outlet. Not very not very pretty, but it seems to be working. I probably should put an actual valve there, but this was just a quick, connect everything job. Let's see what else. I mean, the intercooler, there's nothing really fancy about the intercooler lines. I did put a small threaded barb here for the wastegate control, so that it's coming as directly off the turbo as possible. And I also drilled a second hole in the front here. That is the intake air temperature sensor, and that's on the intake charge side right before the throttle plate. So that should give it a pretty accurate reading. I'm not exactly sure how much the computer relies on that. I was able to keep using the original overflow bottle. I don't know why I didn't on the other one. I feel like I had to change it for some reason, but I guess not. Yeah, everything else, there's my EGR delete, which I used a piece of heat tape over top of it just because it's got some squish and some adhesive to it and can hack the temperatures if it ever gets hot over there. But yeah, this was fun. Oh, and also FMU. This is a 10-to-1 FMU. Being that this is a lower flow rate car, I think I really needed the 12-to-1. So I ordered a Blocks Racing 12-to-1. Should be here this week. We'll give that a try. Right now it runs about 13.5-to-1 when everything is just right, and that's at low boost. I'm not pushing high boost in this yet, not until I can get the fuel system working perfectly. Here's where the battery wire connects, and I was going to try and make some kind of a housing for this. Haven't decided on one yet, so just made sure it's bolted down really tight, and I wrapped it in tape, and that's good enough for now. And also, this is I was going to try and put some kind of a duct and a sound baffle. I like the sound it makes, but I figure it would make it just that little bit quieter. However, I ran out of space here, so it's just this is what we got. It's going to be partially engine air, hot air intake, but oh well, that's a trade-off. It's not a K&N sitting in the engine bay or anything crazy like that. Oh, there's my boost sensor. It's coming off of the throttle plate, which if my blow-off valve ever comes in, I'm going to tee this over to it, and probably put the blow-off valve right there. I would put it on the first pipe, but I just don't have the space for it. So, all right. Thank you very much.